right. For those of you guys joining in, hello. Welcome to everyone joining us live. And to those of you watching the recording, we're so sad you missed such an interactive workshop, but we hope the resources help to implement these strategies of self-reflection on your own. So today you guys are going to hear from Kimberly Stroy, and she is a substitute teacher and a primary education major at the University of Central Florida. And if everything is kind of stressful for you right now, this is the perfect workshop to get professional development while also engaging with your own experiences and other aspiring educators. Like just about everybody introducing themselves in the chat. You guys can continue to do that, but we are going to go ahead and get started. Once again, remember, make sure you have sticky notes handy. This is going to be a very interactive workshop, and I will let our guest speaker take over.
Yay. Okay. Hey, you guys. My name is Kimberly Stroy. I'll be with you guys today. I'm so excited. So today we're going to be talking about reconnecting with your why, promoting self-exploration and student passion. So make sure, like Katie said, the few housekeeping rules, make sure your mic is muted until I ask you otherwise, which I will be asking you to unmute your mic if you're brave enough to answer any of my questions. But go ahead and continue introducing yourself in the chat box, and we're going to get started. Okay, like I said before, we're reconnecting with our why, promoting self-exploration and student passion. And so let's start off with me introducing myself to you guys. My name is Kimberly Stroy. I'm from Jacksonville, Florida. I currently attend the University of Central Florida. Go Knights, yay. I am currently a senior. My major is elementary education. I have a minor in exceptional education. I am due to graduate in December 2020. Which is coming up soon, so exciting. And I'm also an officer of the Student National Education Association for UCF. I'm also the secretary. And I am a substitute teacher. I've been a substitute teacher for over a year now in Seminole County, and I love it. I've gained so much experience since. And some things that I just love doing, I love reading, I love visiting the beach, and painting. So we have a busy agenda. So you guys put on your seatbelts. So our agenda, we're going to talk about why passion matters and your purpose. And also passion profile activity, which is like my favorite. If you're part of the UCF chapter, we've done it a couple of times. And we're talking about your driving force for going into education. And who are you doing it for? Are you doing it for yourself or your future students? And we're also talking about student engagement in the classroom, resources and example activities, and challenges and projects. And you'll also be given a research sheet, and some will be given prizes at the end. So let's start with why passion matters. From a teacher's perspective, I know a lot of teachers that I know have been burned out because they forgot their why. So for us, why going into this profession, we need to alleviate the burnout rate. So we have to keep on pursuing our dreams and becoming a teacher and making sure we stay firm in knowing our why. For the student perspective, we have to be centered, focused teacher. We have to be caring and compassion. And like for me, when I'm in the classroom, my passion about teaching is contagious. And so from also a student perspective in the class, we have to be engaging and building relationships. Empathy is learned. Goal-oriented and authenticity, connecting with our classmates and students. So let's go ahead. Okay, you guys, first things first. Why? Why are you becoming a teacher? Why is becoming a teacher so important to you? I want you to write down in the chat box the first word that comes to mind. when you're asked one of these questions. Why are you becoming a teacher? I get that question a lot. I'm sure you do too. But what's the first word that comes to mind? Why are you becoming a teacher? Why is becoming a teacher so important to you? And as you write them down in the chat box, I want you to go ahead and take a sticky note and write that word down too. I'm doing this activity with you guys, so go ahead and write that word down with you on your sticky note as well as in the chat box. Okay, now I need some participation. So my word, I'm gonna give my word after, but I want 3 different people to jump on the mic and tell us your word and tell me why. So go for it, you guys.
Okay, I can go. I wrote down curiosity. And do you want me to explain why I put curiosity?
Yes, please.
Okay, so I put curiosity and I tried to make it like bubbly and pretty. I put curiosity because my main reason why for going into teaching is because I constantly love learning and I want school to not kill that natural curiosity that students have. So my goal is to make sure my students are curious about the world and curious about themselves. I don't want them to hate coming to school each day.
Yay, Katie, love it. Can I get another volunteer, please? Because I see some great words like opportunity, influence, to inspire, guidance.
So I'll go.
Yay!
I put help because a really big thing for me is just helping students to not have the same experiences I did. Like, I know I had some pretty crummy experiences in school, and I don't want kids to go through what I went through.
Yes, I love that explanation. One more, you guys, and we can move on, I promise.
Okay, I can go.
Thank you.
I did inspire, and I want to inspire a love of learning, inspire curiosity, and like just inspire growth, all of those.
I love every explanation was amazing, you guys. Thank you so much. So let's get started. Okay, when someone asks why anyone would ever become a teacher, remind them why it's important and why it's worth it. Every job has its ups and downs, but not every job can change your life. So I chose passion. I don't know if you guys can see it, but passion. I personally feel like all of our reasons and explanations on why we chose this wonderful profession of education came from a passion. So let's get started with our first activity. It's the passion profile activity. So you guys, I know a lot of our UCF members have done the passion profile activity in a few workshops. So our passion profiles, and this helps us with our teaching and understanding where our passion comes from with education. So like I said before, I'm going to go ahead and read through some of, well, majority of all of them. It's only 8. And I want you guys to figure out your top 3. I want you to write your top 3 passion profiles in the text box. And I want you to write your number 1 passion profile on another sticky note. So pull this first one off and put it to the side, and then put your number 1 passion profile on this one. So passion number 1 is the child. You become a teacher primarily because you wanted to make a difference in the life of a child. Perhaps you were one of those kids whose life was changed by a committed, caring teacher, and you decided to become a teacher so that you could do for others. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to passion profile number 2, the curriculum. You are one of those teachers who are always tinkering with the curriculum in order to enrich the learning opportunities for your students. You have a thorough understanding of your content area. You attend conferences and subscribe to journals that help you stay up in current trends and affecting the curriculum that you teach. Okay, passion 3, content knowledge. You are your best in the classroom when you have a thorough understanding of the content or the topic you're teaching. Having to teach something you don't know much about makes you uncomfortable and always motivates you to hone up this area of the teaching knowledge base. Passion 4, teaching strategies and techniques. You are motivated most as a teacher by a desire to improve on and experiment with teaching strategies and techniques. You have experience and understand the value of particular strategies to engage students in powerful learning and want to get really good at this stuff. Passion profile number 5, the relationship between beliefs and professional practice. You sense a disconnect between what you believe and what actually happens in the classroom and or school. For example, you believe that a major purpose of schools is to produce citizens capable of contributing to a sustaining and democratic society. However, students in your class seldom get an opportunity to discuss controversial issues. Passion number 6, the intersection between your personal and professional identities. You came into teaching from a previous career and often sense that your previous profession identity may be in conflict with your new identity as an educator. You feel inefficient, ineffective, and frustrated when your students or colleagues don't approach a particular task that is second nature to you because of your previous identity. Passion number 7, advocating equity and social justice. You become an educator to change the world, to help create a more equitable, democratic, and peaceful planet. You are constantly thinking of ways to integrate issues of race, class, disability, power, etc. into teaching. However, your global concerns for equity and social justice sometimes get in your way of effectiveness as an educator. And the last one, passion profile number 8, context matters. What keeps you up at night is how to keep students focused on learning despite the many disruptions that go on in your classroom/building or on a daily basis. It seems that the school context conspires against everything that you know about teaching and learning. Okay, I see a lot of people's answers. Perfect. Okay, instead of 2, I want 3 people to share their number 1. So go ahead and hop on the mic, unmute yourself, and go ahead and share for me.
Hi, I'm Grace. I'm going to share mine. My number 1 passion in here is teaching strategies. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we hear you perfectly. Go ahead, sweetheart.
The reason why I picked that one, I'm a sophomore right now in school, and I really want to learn how to address all children and their needs. And so if one child's really good at hands-on learning, another one is good on visual, stuff like that.
Amazing.
My number 1 was the child. I think that this is the career for people to be putting the child first, and knowing that you're in it for the child and the benefit of the child receiving education from you is important. That was my number 1.
Thank you, Michelle. One more person.
I chose 1 and 3. I think those are both my number ones because I obviously want to do it for the kids, but I also it was number 3 is content knowledge. So I really love math, so I'm hoping to get like a departmentalized position, but otherwise I'm excited to like learn more about how to teach reading and stuff. So I think that's why.
Awesome. My passion profile will be the child because I was that student who was influenced by an amazing teacher, and that's what I want for my future students. I want them to feel the impact that I did from that one teacher. Let's dig deeper into that. What does your number one passion profile say about you as an educator? How do you think that affects your students, your classroom culture, and your disciplinary actions? So I would say for me personally, since my number one passion profile was the child, I feel like for my students, I will always want to make sure like my students' basic needs are taken care of before I even start with any kind of curriculum. For my classroom culture, I would feel like, honestly, I would make sure it's like a home feeling. I feel like I would be best at a Title I school because I know most of their needs aren't met at home. But for my classroom culture, like we would be like a sense of community. For disciplinary actions, I'm unsure because like me being a sub, I really don't have to discipline that much because I'm also like the children, they don't misbehave with me, but I'm sure it'll be a whole different story when I get into the classroom. So I want 2 of my friends to hop on and answer these questions for me. Let's dig deeper into our passion profile results.
Is it okay if I go again?
Yeah, go for it, Grace. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. So I picked teaching strategies, and I think it would affect me as an educator. The first thing that I thought of was I would have to be organized because I would have to first assess the children and see how they learn best in the beginning, and then the students, I feel like they would be more engaged and like they would want to learn. So I feel like that also addresses the disciplinary actions. Like if they're having fun, then I feel like that would eliminate most of that. I mean, of course, there's always going to be discipline issues. And then classroom culture. I feel like my classroom would look very different from the traditional classroom. I don't know if anyone has seen like the graffiti art or the graffiti wall where like the teacher writes like a question about the topic that they're learning or something like that, and then the children like write like what they're interested about or what they learned. So that's something that I would want to incorporate in my classroom. So yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about that.
Thanks, Grace.
No problem.
I'm Taylor, and my passion number 1 was the child. So I feel like my what it says about me as an educator is that I can be a good role model for the students and like be a really positive inspiration for them because I'm all about giving off positive vibes even if you're having a bad day at home in the classroom. I'm not going to show that. I'm just going to come all out and be happy and engaging. I believe my students will always have potential and I'll always remind them of that. So I guess I can be like a motivator as well. I would create a family environment because I agree with Kimberly, like Title I students most likely won't have that culture at home. So I think that's really important to bring it into the classroom. And I think as far as like disciplinary actions, I'm more on the authoritative side because I can be fun and cool in the classroom, but I'm also serious because at home they probably get a lot of like privileges that probably don't get taken away from them. So I want to make sure that when they come in the classroom, like you have to earn it. It's, you have to deserve it type of thing. So, yeah.
Thank you so much, Taylor. I'm going to ask for one more.
I'll go.
Yay.
Okay, so my passion is the child, and for students, like I would want to make sure that all the needs for my students are being met. So if any of my students have IEPs or extra accommodations, I would make sure that all of their needs are being met, and whatever ways to help them learn easily, I would make sure to do that. In my classroom, I want my classroom to be a place where they feel safe and comfortable to be themselves, because personally, myself in school, I kind of felt like I couldn't be myself in the classroom. I was really scared to raise my hand and answer questions. I wasn't, participating. So I want to make sure that, my students can be themselves. And for disciplinary actions, it's hard because, in the schools, as teachers, it's not our jobs to direct students, like discipline students. So it's difficult because it's really the parents' job. But at the same time, like, we're with the kids all day. I guess, like, if a student's like acting up, I would have like a little safe place in my room, my classroom, where I can just send them over to that area, and so they can think about what they did was wrong, and have them, come up to me and saying, oh, I did this, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
I like that example. I remember subbing in a kindergarten classroom where like she was so sweet. She was frustrated with trying to draw, I think it was a hexagon. So she went to her teacher's calm corner, picked the color that went with a visual, was like, Miss Stroy, I'm angry because the stick was red, so I went with the picture that she was angry. And so we got to talk about it. And she went back to the corner, found like a really small activity to do for a few seconds, and she came back and tried it again, which I like that action. So we're going to move on. Let's see. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to watch the video that I had with it because it's zooming and it's acting up right now. But I will make sure I send it to you guys and we can like have a Facebook discussion about it. But let's go to the next question. What was your driving force for going into education? And I want you to think really long and hard on this. Was there a person that inspired you? Did you always want to be a teacher, or was there a school experience that drove you to go into this profession? So I'm going to start first with my story because I love my story, but because it's my own. So for me, I didn't want to go into education. I got a long bloodline full of educators, principals, and all that good stuff. When I was in high school, I wanted to be an OBGYN. I wanted to be a doctor. But what was my eureka moment, my moment, it was my senior year in high school, and I had to volunteer at my cousin's school. She was the principal at a school in Jacksonville. Well, she still is. But she was the principal at a school in Jacksonville, and I just did some volunteer hours for her. And probably like the second day that I was volunteering at her school after going to high school, I was like, I really like it here. So like I didn't get to start my AA at that moment, but then like I already knew from then, I might want to do this for real. Like I love kids. I always loved kids. But it was that moment that I knew like, ooh, the feel of being in the school and actually like feeling the environment, feeling the culture of her school was amazing. But plus there was a teacher in high school that inspired me. Even though like I personally, my elementary experience wasn't amazing like everybody else's, but there was a teacher in high school that really inspired me because she didn't give up on me. So that was my story of what was my driving force for going into education. So I'm going to choose 3 more people. Well, I don't want to choose people. I want you guys to volunteer and share your story because your story should be heard. So whenever you're ready, guys, I want to hear it.
I'll go again just because my story is kind of like random. I initially wanted to be a fashion designer, and I've always liked working with kids because my dad is like a motivational speaker. So he would always go into schools and elementary, middle, and high schools and like talk to them about like just giving them a lot of like, inspirational stuff that they can take home with them. And I never went to none of those, but like I was in school for fashion and I was dual enrolled in high school, and I realized that this is something I don't want to do. I'm not passionate about it because it's frustrating than like fun. And so I think it was my junior year, I got a summer job as a camp counselor for first graders, and like I absolutely loved it. They wanted me to be their teacher. They were actually like sad that they had to go back to their school and I wasn't going to be there with them. So I was like, I think I like working with kids a lot more than I thought. So I was doing business with my AA from Seminole State, and then I kind of like after my first semester, I just switched immediately to elementary education. So I've always wanted to like work with kids. Like I wanted to be a designer for children's clothing, but it didn't work out for me. So I think that it really took like a experience of me working with kids for a while to like really realize that like I'm really passionate about being with them and helping them grow and all of that. So yeah, that's my story.
I love it, Taylor. Thank you so much for sharing. That was amazing. Who's next? I love to hear you guys' story.
Mine's kind of similar to Taylor's, so I can go. I also wasn't in this profession in the beginning. I had my foot in the door for being a news anchor, and not a lot of people were happy with me when I switched. It was kind of like my family's dream for me to be really big and successful and loud. And as cheesy as it is, I kind of realized that my loud voice, that volume level doesn't have anything to do with impact. So I realized my voice could be used in the classroom versus on TV stations. And I switched, and I don't regret it. So that's kind of my story.
Yay, Katie. I wanted to talk to Allison. Thank you so much for sharing in the chat box that you had a similar story to me. And like, it's so crazy because I really didn't want to go into education because of my family, but I feel like it was a passion that we had inside of us. So we're doing it for the kids. So who's next, you guys? I love to hear your stories.
I can go. Oh, wait.
Hi, Carol.
Okay. Just like it's kind of like a deep story, but not really. I mean, yeah, I guess it is deep. I don't know. I had like really weird experiences going to school. One of the main things is that I'm actually deaf, and the reason why I'm able to hear and talk is because I have cochlear implants. And so going to school for me was kind of like difficult because for one, I didn't have a lot of friends in school, but also like I had a few teachers that weren't accommodating towards my needs that I needed. And it was really difficult because, you know, I needed extra help. I needed teachers to be a little bit more consistent with me, and I didn't get that consistency from teachers that I needed. And it's funny because when I was younger, I kind of wanted to be a teacher, but then I actually really wanted to be a chef. Like I love cooking. To this day, I still love cooking. But when I went to college, I was really thinking about different options, and I said to myself, you know what, like I think I want to be a teacher because I think I can really make an impact on students that, you know, they can see differences, and also, you know, have them see the idea of inclusion, as well as making sure that no student will ever go through what I had to go through in school. That's like the one thing, like I'm literally becoming a teacher, is because I really don't want any student to go through what I went through. I went through really weird experiences that no one should have ever went through. And I think it's incredible that like each and every single one of you have a story. You know, we all have a story, and it's incredible that all of you want to become a teacher. And I really do believe that all of you are going to be incredible teachers. So yeah, so that's my whole spiel.
You're amazing. I love it. It doesn't have to stop at 3 people, you guys. If you want to hop on and share, go ahead and share.
I have a similar story. I was a dental hygiene major, pediatric. I wanted to change the phenomenon that the dentist is a scary place, and I wanted the kids to realize that you don't have to be scared. Like, everything will be fine. And then I realized that after getting my dental assisting degree and waiting to be accepted into dental hygiene school, that I could impact a lot more children being a teacher than seeing them twice a year for 30 minutes. So then I chose to be a teacher because I wanted to change the whole phenomenon about school being this scary place that every kid hates to go to. So I switched my mindset to help more kids more often than just twice a year.
Wow. Anybody else have that big change like Michelle? Because she was a whole dental assistant.
I was a film major.
Wow.
Yeah, and I'm an honors student in UCF's Honors College, and they've restructured it since. Hey, they've restructured it since. And but anyway, when I was my first year, we had to do a service learning in an elementary school, which was super weird. Didn't matter what your major was, you'd go to elementary school. I was like, this is so dumb. Why are we doing this? And then I went to the elementary school, and our whole job every week was to just go in and like talk about college, and that college was possible. And I just had like this aha moment standing up there in front of the kids, because one of the last times we were there, we're supposed to like plant the seed that college is possible. And I've established rapport with them for like 6 weeks, and they're like, oh, I can't go to college. I can't afford it. And I was like, well, guess what? I'm going to college for free. And they all were like, oh, and just like having that ability to make such a big impact, it meant so much to me. And I was like, bye, film, changing my major.
Yes. I'm so excited for you. Because, you can also use these different things that we learn from different majors or different experiences in life. We can add that into the classroom. Like, I feel like Michelle can have like a whole dental lesson with brushing. It depends on the grade, of course, but like we can talk about brushing your teeth and how important that is in the classroom. We can talk about film in the classroom. And I feel like those will be engaging lessons for students also. So
Deanna just shared in the chat, she can't jump over the mic, but she always had a passion to be a teacher since school because it was her safe place. And she didn't have the best past growing up, and she encountered a child where she was volunteering that had a similar past. So she was able to connect with that kid. If you got over it in RK, I can too. So her and that kid worked together every day, saw his progress, and she just fell in love with this. She wants to help every student no matter what. Wow. Oh man, that's so sweet, Deanna. Thank you so much for sharing that.
thank you so much for sharing. Yes. Let's move forward. Okay, you guys. Teachers who inspire realize there will always be rocks in the road ahead of us. They will be stumbling blocks or stepping stones. It all depends on how we use them. So one more question. Who are you doing this for? Who are you taking these college classes for? Who are you struggling to pass these teacher certification tests for? Who is going to benefit from you finishing this degree in education? I want you to think hard, because I know we could all have similar answers, but I want you guys to go ahead and write that in the chat box, and I want you to write it on your sticky. You guys, who are you doing this for?
I am doing this for every student that walks into my classroom from now until I retire.
Yes, Michelle. I'm with Michelle. I wrote down my future student.
I mentioned that I'm doing this for all the kids who, for whatever reason it may be, don't have support at home. So they may not
be fully aware that they're capable of greatness. So just being that extra support and reminder that they can do whatever they want and set their minds to is why I'm doing it.
Thanks, Carla. Anybody else would like to share?
I put that obviously I will benefit from it because it'll give me a brighter future than my life right now, and it'll definitely benefit students who struggle because I'm very patient when it comes to teaching, and from past experiences of tutoring students, I really want to give every student a strong foundation in knowledge and to help them foster a love for learning.
Thank you so much, Angelica. Okay, you guys, for me, I do it for, of course, myself. You know, I'm getting this education, but I'm also doing it for my future students. Sometimes the one thing your students need most has nothing to do with the lesson plan. And I put that statement next to this reflection journal. So I'm currently in my internship. Well, not right now because of this whole thing going on with this virus, but earlier this semester I was in my internship and it was my last week in 3rd grade. And so the teacher made a reflection journal prompt about me, and it was what we love about Miss Stroy. You know, I felt so special. It was amazing. I cried at the end of that day. And so like each student got to write down what they loved about me, what they enjoyed about doing with me for those couple weeks, and well, those 6 weeks. And after I read each one, and most of it wasn't because, oh, she taught me how to do fractions or taught me about area and perimeter. It was nothing about the lessons, even though I did teach a lot of lessons in that class. It was mainly about how I made them feel, how open I was to them, and how caring I was, and how kind and loving I was. So we have to keep that in mind when reacting in these classrooms with these students, because sometimes like we're the only smile that they get at school. We're the only hug that they get at school. Oh. Okay, the student's perspective. Like I said before, who are you doing this for? I'm doing it for the students too, like a lot of you guys. I'm so excited. So excited. But you got to think, why do the students come to school every day? Because their parents tell them to? Because they want to learn? Or because it's the only place that they are fed, or the only place where their basic needs are met? We always have to remember, always connect to the purpose. Your students should know why they're learning something. What is the point of it? I know like every time, like even as a kid or now as a adult with my parents, like they would tell me, oh, you got to do something. And I'm like, why? And they always say, because I said so. No, like these kids want more than that. They deserve more than that. So we have to make sure like we're setting goals, like where are we going? What are we reaching for when we're doing an assignment? Authenticity and empathy between students, it's everything. So now we have our resources for student engagement, which is also provided, going to be provided at the end of this presentation. And trust me, it's a lot of them. So be aware, it's a lot. So for social emotional pedagogy, and we also have like getting to know you activities, and I can list like a whole lot of getting to know you activities, but like one of my favorites that I saw on Pinterest, of course, was the t-shirt one, where they would have to draw a self-portrait and say like where they're from and how many siblings they have, what's their favorite color, all on like a piece of paper that's designed as a t-shirt. And like we can, for different engagement activities, we can poll the class, and like the students can fill out a questionnaire on their interests or like give feedback on a lesson that you taught. Because like we're teachers, we make mistakes, and sometimes we have to make sure like we always know our students' interest in class and make sure that that works out in the long run, because we want our students to be engaged, and that's engaging when we're using their interests. Like, oh, like Bobby's favorite color is blue. Let me just go ahead and do this whole PowerPoint, the backdrop in blue, just so he can be kind of aware of what we're doing. It's little stuff like that that works. So we can also do question box or a question board where, like, at the end of the day, like, students can like write a sticky and throw it in our question box, or we can just have a whole question little board where they can get an expo marker or a permanent marker with paper, of course, and they can write questions that they have, and like at the end of the week we can go through those questions. And like, so for passion-based projects, they can be projects that the students are passionate about, but with the curriculum behind it though. And it goes hand in hand with Genius Hour, which we'll get there. So identity activities, this was my favorite back in not high school, but elementary school, where we would like do projects on like, who am I? Like, what's my family tree? So like with me, I would like go to my parents and go to my great-grandparents and ask, hey, where's your parents from? And so like they're interested in that kind of stuff. One of the things as a sub I was able to do this past year was morning meetings, which it really opened my eyes because the class was like dual language, where I got 2 classes. And so I got to have morning meetings twice, where I got 17 kids all on the carpet sitting together. And it was a 3rd grade class. There were some big kids. And we all got to sit on the carpet and talk about, oh, how they're feeling. Like, we was given like I got to choose out of a box, and there was like a whole bunch of different questions, and we had to go around the circle and answer the question. And that just opened that line of communication up, which was amazing. So, and that also goes with group discussions. And so career-based activities, we can explore like what they're good at. Like, I know some schools, they used to do like woodwork and home economics, like mainly skill-based activities. And so I know one thing for me in primary, and I'm sure in secondary, showcasing the students' work samples are appreciated by the students. Like, oh, Miss So-and-so has my paper on the board and I got an A+ on it. I feel so good about myself. So we should do that. So Genius Hour, you'll find a link in our resource page, but Genius Hour explores passion through creativity. And like the students get to choose like their own, data-based question to do a research project on, which is amazing. And we also need to stress building positive relations in classroom environment, because it all draws back to having them special bond with our students and making sure they feel comfortable in the classroom, because they're in our classroom more than they are at home. And so mainly for me, you have to make sure we build that community in the classroom. Okay, after Zoom project, this is my favorite slide. Yay! Okay, you guys, I want you guys, if you're up to it, it's a task. Trust me, it's a task. Go ahead and collect pictures, quotes, drawings, encouraging words, and I want you to place them on a board, a mirror, or somewhere where you see it every day. So for my example, that's up, that's my room, and that's in my room. That is my vision board. I have pictures of my family, pictures of me graduating with my AA, pictures of a dog that I want in the future, pictures of places I want to travel, pictures of the car I want to have, but most importantly, quotes and sayings of remembering why I'm going into education. And so seeing this daily, it reminds me every day why I wake up and go to class and why I want to be in the field of education. And it helps me. And I love it. And I hope it helps you guys too. But the thing about it, why I made you do sticky notes, for me, I started with sticky notes, just placing sticky notes everywhere. Oh, passion. Yes, I have a passion for teaching. I had that on my mirror. The child is the reason why. I'm a student-focused teacher. Why am I doing this? For my future students. Why am I struggling in class? For my future students. So for me, it all started with sticky notes. So if you want to go ahead, post these on your mirror, in your bathroom, in your living room, do it, because I used to. So, okay, challenges. So you guys, I challenge you. Go ahead and take pictures of your sticky notes. Go ahead and start your vision board. And I want you to hashtag, this is my why. This is our why. Share your sticky notes. I'm going to share mine. Have people jump on a video to share the sticky notes. Explain the sticky notes to people. Explain them why you wrote these words on there. So, and at SFEA UCF. So unfortunately, I don't have a Twitter. I do have an Instagram and Facebook. So I'm going to come back to this one. And many thanks, you guys. Yay. My Facebook and my Instagram is down there. So if you want to tag me, you can. And thank you so much for staying in tune with me. I really appreciate you guys.
Thank you so much, Kimberly. That was so interactive. I am definitely going to be using these sticky notes and making a vision board. We have a lot of isolation time, so making a vision board is very possible right now.
Yeah.
Thank you for your
We have all the resources.
Yes. So the resources are sent in the chat. You guys can use those for engaging activities in your classroom. You can use those to reconnect with your passion. But the one thing to always remember is don't forget the original reason why you went into this profession. Your why is going to change over time, but never forget the one reason you joined first. And yes, I can send the resources again. Let me grab that for you. There you go. So there's the resource sheet again. And for those of you who are watching and you're chapter leaders or your state leaders, you can do this passion profile activity in your chapters to reconnect your members with their passion for teaching. We've had people in our chapter go all over the place and put "my students deserve" and "this is my why," "this is our why," and just sharing why they went into this profession. And it's really powerful, especially when you get hashtag trending. So thank you to everyone who joined. We are going to announce the winners, and we have 3 winners for books and classroom starter kits, which is super cool. And I need to go find your names again. We actually had a name drawn of someone who already won. So we're going to go with 3 new people at least. All right, we've got, so Caroline, you are our first winner. Then we have Taylor White and Grace. So Taylor White, Grace, and Caroline, you guys just won. So we will be in contact with you. With Corona, everything's kind of up in the air for shipping, but we have your names written down, we have your prizes set aside, and we will get those to you ASAP. So again, thank you guys so much for joining. Don't forget to post on Twitter or Instagram your takeaways from this workshop and how amazing our guest speaker Kimberly was. And I believe our next workshop is going to be classroom management. So that's going to be another big one. And there's also a new opportunity online for online webinars. If you guys haven't seen it, it's for aspiring educators and teachers. And I'm hoping to find the link right now. But during this next week, we have a couple webinars offered and workshops. And then there's also a new opportunity that the union has shared. Just found it. Awesome. So here you guys go. This is more professional development opportunities if you want to sign up for them. There's a bunch of different workshops. Again, ours are continuing throughout this week specifically for aspiring educators, but these are some teacher ones if you guys want to join. So again, thank you so much. You guys can go ahead and log out.